This video is going to help us to prove Pythagoras Theorem. Pythagoras Theorem states that if you pick a right angle triangle, the sum of its height and the sum of its height and the squared of its height and the squared of its base or the adjacent side is equal to the square of the hypotenuse, which is the longest side. So for us to start improving this theorem, get a right angle triangle. We know a right angle triangle has one of its angles to be 90 degrees. So I'll go to the line, click on the drop down menu, get a segment. So I'm going to use my y-axis as a perpendicular to the x. So I have this A to B, B to C, and then C to A back. So we can assume this is a right angle triangle because this angle here is 90 degrees. I'll move ahead to get a polygon at both sides of the triangle or at each side of the triangle. So that I'll choose a regular polygon with 4 vertices. So I'll click on A to B to C. Then a pop-up menu comes which asks me the options. So with the polygon I want 4 vertices. So I'll just click on OK. Then from C to B, 4 vertices, and then from B back to A. So that is what I have. So this squared plus this squared should be able to give me the squared. I'll move ahead to get lines, parallel lines. So I'll click on perpendicular, the drop down menu, click on parallel or parallel lines. So I find a line parallel to this side here. Click on that. I get a line to help me to divide this quadrilateral for me. And I'll pick another parallel line to this. Okay, and I'll click on that. If I have to find their intersection, the intersection of the two lines, I'll click on that, intersect. Find the intersection of this like that. So I have my intersection. Now I do not need my two parallel lines again, so I just come to the algebra view and the lines are unchecked, those two lines there. Afterwards, I move to the polygon. This time I need just a polygon. So I click on polygon to help me with the division of the areas I want. Okay, so I've done my division. Now all these areas look the same, but for me to be able to differentiate that, I'm going to give it different colors. So to do that, I'll just click inside the area, I'll right click, then I'll go to Object Properties. When I click, a variety of options come for me, and I choose the type of color I want. So when you come here, I want a color, and the color has already been highlighted. So I'll pick this color, then I'll increase its brightness, so which we call the opacity. I'm good. Then I'll go to the next area. So go to Object Properties, click on the color I want, on green, and I'll I'll increase the opacity. Move to the next area. Click on Object Property and then choose the color I want, picking yellow, and I'll increase the opacity. And then I'll go to the last division I have here. Go to Object Property and then I'll click on the color, which is blue, and equally increase the opacity of the color. Okay. Now I want to do the same to this bigger region here. I'll go to Object Properties and then choose the color. This time I'm going for red, and then increase its opacity. Okay, so we are done with the coloring. Okay, then we want to move these regions and this one over here to see if it can occupy that. Because we said this squared plus this squared should be able to give us that squared. So I'll move ahead and put in some functions. That before that, I'll create a slider. So with the slider, I'll go to the slider option and click on slider. Click anywhere on my graphics view. Now I want to label my slider Z, and I'm moving from 0 to 1. So 0, and the maximum should be 1. And then it will be increasing by 0.01. And I'll click on OK. So that is my slider. Right now, my slider does not have any effect on the work I've done here. Okay, so that our slider does not have any effect on my work here. So I'm going to input the slider in my work so that we see how it works there. So I'll come to my input field and I'll type. As I've said earlier, I want to move everything here and here to this bigger region here. So I'll click on J. J is this point. So I'm moving everything here, and J is my central point. So I'll type J plus my slider, which is Z. This is my slider. So J plus Z, then into brackets. I want to move J to A. So I'll type A minus J. Enter. So this is what I have. Now I'll move ahead to get a vector. And I'll join B to K. That is my vector there. I'll move on to this option, which is the reflector. But I do not want the reflector. Just click on the drop down menu to get translate by vector. I'll click on that. Come and click on my area that I want to move, and then the vector. So you see that it is moving. Now I'll come again. I have J plus J plus G plus plus Z, which is my slider. Then now I want to move J to E. So I'll type in E minus J. Enter. So I'll go ahead and get a vector. And then I'll join J to L. Now I'll come to translate, and I want to move this area here to that place. So I'll click on the area, and then I'll click on the vector. I have a little problem here. I have to move the slider a bit so that I can get a vector very well. Okay, so this is the area. So I have to go back and choose the translate by vector again. I'll click on the area and then the vector. Okay, I have that. Okay, now the other ranges I have to move. So I go to J plus C, then into brackets. I'm moving J to D. So J or D minus J. Then enter. I'll get a vector. Then I'll join J to M. I'll go back to translate by vector. Choose the area which is the blue, and then click on the vector. Then another area again. So I have J plus C, which is the slider. Now I want to move J to C. So I have C minus J. Enter. Get back to my vector. Join J to N. Now click on the region, which is this. So before that, I'll go to translate by vector. Choose the yellow and then the vector. So now let's see what that we see. As we move, it also moves over there. Okay. So now it's left with this bigger region to be moved to this side. So what we do is go to circle, choose a compass, and then for that compass, click on this point, and then this point, and I'll make the center of the circle. I want to get the intersection between this side of the line of the shape and then the center. So I'll just click on this and then the circle. I've gotten the intersection. I don't need my circle again, so I just want to check the circle. Okay. Now what I do next is I want to move this to that. So I'll come back to my input field and then type in F plus J, which is my slider, then into brackets. O, that's the point I want to move F to. O minus F. Okay, so for me to use to identify that point there, okay, that's what I have. Just move on to my vector, join F to P. Just move ahead to my translate my vector. So I want to translate. Okay, so I want to move this area here. So the region and then the vector. It also moves. So right now let's animate our slider and see what happens. So you right click on that, move on to animation on. So we see what happens. So I'll move ahead to 12 or to uncheck my vector. So that becomes away with. So you can either click on the object or the graphics view and then do show object. So these are the points I have. So this goes on to prove Pythagoras Theorem. Show object. Show object. Show object. So you right click on the things you do not want. Okay. Because it's already showing, when you click on show object, it goes away. And when you want it back, just right click on the area you want. Then you click on show object and then it will appear. So this area here squared plus this area squared is given as this area squared. Goes on to prove that. Prove Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so I end my video here. Thank you.